Yeah, Michigan. Well, when I got out of college, I thought, well, I'm going to be a newspaper reporter, and that's a pencil and paper at the time, and just get out there and tough it out and talk to people. And it didn't happen that way. I was a cocktail waitress at the Ann Arbor Inn, and I wore a low neck sweater and a short skirt, and I got a job at a radio station. That kind of got me going in I never really intended broadcasting, and that got me to the Wham radio, and then and then my mother, who's working her magic, was back in southern Lower Michigan, and she said, "Hey, there's a TV station that's hiring people. You ought to come down here and try out for the job, because radio, you're just going to make a certain amount of money. You're not going to make a whole ton of money." So that's where I kind of got my direction. It was the opportunity at a restaurant where a radio station owner I was bringing him drinks, and he said, hey girlie. Yeah, that's right. That's about right. How about you want to go to work for a radio station? I said, sure. Yeah, so that would be great.
So, but there was a career thought about long before radio and broadcasting too. Let's talk about the ski trips and the cocktail drinks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was get right down to it. So I started in Michigan, but then I decided that I wanted to live in Colorado for a couple of years. And that's kind of related to old boyfriends and stuff like that more than you want to know.
The viewers might want to know.
But yeah, so I moved out there, and then I thought, gosh, I got to get back into school, because I was I was working for a physician out there, and rediscovered my ski roots, you know. So I started skiing out in Breckenridge and skiing in Vail. I'm skiing out there. You ski a lot because the slopes are just so long. So I got pretty good at it, and I thought I was pretty good. And I started exploring the idea of becoming a ski patrol, which you have to become an EMT or paramedic. It's a much bigger deal than just, hey, I can ski really well. So that went on the back burner. But I love skiing, and I haven't done it for a couple of years because I just haven't been out there. But that is probably my favorite sport in terms of my own personal abilities. My dad was always like, you can't do anything because you're a woman, And I said, oh, wait a minute. So he's old school, very old school. So, and he was a skier. And then when I learned to ski, he had new respect for me. And that was almost part of my reason for wanting to get good.
You learned how to ski in Michigan?
Learned in Michigan, but got good at it in Colorado.
Okay. How long were you in Colorado?
A couple of years, 2.5 years. Okay. So it's just, but when you're going every weekend, and it's easy to get to Vail from Denver or Boulder, and
then you went from Colorado to
Harbor, where I then graduated from Michigan.
So then your career boosted channel.
Well, from South Bend and Elkhart, I got to Indianapolis in 1980, and I got a job. Lee Giles hired me, God love him, and that started me. And I started on the noon news at Wish TV and doing reporting.
How did you wind up becoming the anchor, though? How long did it take to become the anchor at channel?
Take maybe about a year or so. There was a woman by the name of Carol Krause that nobody knows probably anymore, but I remember. She's good, very good reporter and very good anchor. And she had a boyfriend that was working in Chicago at WBBM TV. And she left to be with him, and so the opening was there. And I just walked right in and started doing the early news, and just sort of was working with Mike Ahern and me, and went on from 5 to 6, and then 6 to the 11. So,
were you nervous? I mean, because did you have this experience to go right into that seat?
I had some experience, but certainly not at the level of thinking I was really ready for it. But I was watching other people at that point, like people like Jane Pauley, who's from Indianapolis, and Jane was kind of like a big icon for me at the time, because I saw her bounce from IU to Wish TV to MAQ.
She was at Wish TV?
She was at Wish TV. Yeah, Lee Giles hired her. That's his claim to fame. And then she went to MAQ in Chicago, and then to the Today Show.